All right, and we are live. Hey, everybody, it's Jason Blaha here. Thought I would do a quick check-in with you guys. No, this isn't scheduled. Just jumping in. Going to do a live real quick, see if we get a few people in, see what happens. Hopefully, I made it public. I have a habit of not doing that sometimes. We're about to find out. Maybe. Yeah, it's public. All right, so a quick reminder for those of you who get in here, hit the like button. If you're chiming in after the fact, drop comments underneath so that it goes into people's feed. Help me out, give me comments here, drop me likes, and we'll see who we get in here. And if we get any relevant topics, I may not run this one very long, guys. I thought I would just do a quick one to just say hello to everyone, cover any questions that we have, and just have some different stuff floating around in the feed. So we'll see what happens here. So far, nobody has hit like yet. There was someone waiting to hop in here. I told him I was about to hop in a live. He said I'll be there. So we'll give him a minute to come in. Also, I just did a consultation with him a bit ago. Someone I do consultation with every now and then, every couple months. All right. So training's going good on the conjugate stuff. We did. Finished up the training week just now, so I did all my dynamic effort lower today. Was really happy with all of that. Making adjustments with all of it to go back to 4-day because, quite frankly, I need it for recovery. Joe says, "What are your thoughts on the transformer bar?" I like the transformer bar, and I guess if you're going to do conjugate type stuff where you're rotating things a lot, it's useful. But it's relatively expensive and relatively complicated, I think, for normal use for most people. But I mean, if you really want that diversity of stuff for squatting and good morning purposes, it can be a valuable tool. It's just an expensive tool, Joe. It's an expensive and complicated tool that may not be useful for everyone. But I think for certain types of programming, certain types of lifters, I think the transformer bar can actually be a valuable tool. And I've had clients who own them actually. So I programmed with them. Also, if you guys could hit that like button for Daddy, I would greatly appreciate it. Let's get those likes up, those engagements. It'll help get people in here. They'll see it. Reach up and hit that like button for me. Come on now. But yeah, Joe, that's what I think about it. Any other questions, man? You seem to be the first one asking anything. So you have me here for a moment for your questions then, Joe. But that's my thoughts on the transformer bar. So anybody else got questions, comments, things they want to discuss? And no, I'm not going to put up with any nonsense in here. I'm going to keep it pretty strict with just a no BS, chill stream so that I can stay chill. So if I can stay chill for you guys, I'm going to get rid of nonsense. And then I'm calm. You guys are calm. And we can just discuss relevant topics. I love it when people ask me stuff that they know that I know nothing about, like, the stock market. Because it's just like, I literally know nothing about the stock market. Why would you ask me? In fact, I'm probably just going, I should just get rid of people for that, right? What's your top 3 specialty bars? I think it's pretty straightforward. I'm going to go with Buffalo bar, Rackable Cambered bar, and I mean, I like the McDonald bar, but I don't want to name it top 3. I'm going to go with the SB. All right. Only one of those is usable for the upper body. Although not really true, you can use the cambered squat bar for closer grip benching, and it just swings like crazy. I've maxed on it before on camera. I've had clients who did also. I mean, so you can press with it in theory, but you got to go fairly close grip. So those are my top 3 specialty bars. All right. And you guys get those likes up. Come on now. It'll help get more people in here so they'll see it. And remember to comment after the fact. Joe says, I have an SSB, rackable cambered bar, and a cambered bench bar, and a Swiss bar. Yeah. So you've got a pretty good little collection there. Right? I think you got a pretty good collection. So yeah, that's a lot to work with, honestly. I think that's plenty to work with. I mean, you can always add to it over time like I did. I went a little crazy with it. I need to sell some of those bars that I probably will never use again. I just don't know how to get rid of them or sell them or get a decent price right now. I need to figure it out because they're just collecting dust. Like I have 3 or 4 bars I will probably never use that I can think of ever in the foreseeable future. Thoughts on Alan Thrall competing in strongman again a few weeks ago? I have no thoughts on anything Alan Thrall does, and I haven't seen anything on his channel in over a year. So I don't know specifically what we are asking me, right? Deadlifts for boxers. Yeah, I think deadlifts are great for boxers. My boxers do deadlifts, and they do a lot of speed pulls more than normal deadlifts do. Both, right? What's the fastest way to get in shape? How are you defining as in shape? Are you combining in shape from a conditioning perspective, or do you mean in shape to lose body fat? So any form of GPP is the fastest way to get conditioning up. It could be barbell complexes, or it could be sled work, or interval sprints. It could be whatever you need to do to get your conditioning up. Not that any of those is necessarily better than the other; they're just different choices. Well, Jay, I'm sorry to hear that you had to do that with a creep at the gym. It happens. Yapping Tom says just a general thought. I don't know. I guess that's okay. So here's my general thoughts. If Alan wants to compete in strongman again, and he did, then that's his purview, and has every right to do that and compete in whatever he wants to compete in. I just don't really have thoughts on it. But didn't he do lots of strongman before? So I don't really know that is this really a significant topic? This is a guy who's competed in strongman for years in the past. So that's my thoughts on it. I don't see how it's even news. How about from a body fat perspective, calorie deficit, cleaning up your diet? Like conditioning work is not necessarily the fastest or the best way to lose body fat, Rob. That's diet, energy turnover. So if you want to lose body fat quickly, you have to create a calorie deficit. So that's primarily going to come from the nutrition end. I mean, the other stuff can definitely help, right? But the fastest way to lose body fat, jack protein up and to create a calorie deficit through any means that you need to do so. Not that we need to be doing it fast. I mean, unless you're really morbidly obese and you need to for health reasons. You're going to lose muscle and strength if you do it fast and you're not really obese. It's not going to be free. Coach, which is more beneficial, pause squats or box squats? What's more beneficial, a hammer or a screwdriver? I think box squats are more versatile of a tool, so I'm going to have to say more beneficial because it's a more versatile tool, more likely to have more scenarios where it has the most benefit, right? Right? One of those is a more specialized tool, and one of them is a very broad tool with multiple applications. I think you guys will find in the lifting world very rarely do we have best. Sorry, I forgot to say, if I want to squat 3 times a week, which one would you have for variety? I would not have you squat 3 times a week unless you're a novice, in which case just do a normal squat. Do you see any of my clients squatting 3 times a week right now? Just throwing it out there. I have client blogs. Right? Don't see much of that, do we? So I would recommend that you don't squat 3 times a week unless there's a reason you specifically feel that you need to. My best is 380, but I want to hit 4 plate gang before. So why do you think that you need to squat 3 times a week to add another 25 pounds to your squat this year when you're at a intermediate level? Why don't you just get bigger legs? Do you still think a fat-free mass index above 25 while being pretty lean is out of reach for 99% of natties? I think that the 99% is being very generous. I'm going to say 1 in a million, 1 in 10 million genetics to be in that 1%. So 1% is way too high. Should our good mornings be higher than our squat? Usually not, no. Usually the squat's going to tend to be higher than the good morning, or they're going to be very, very close. Jason, I've added 25 pounds to my bench in a month from 220 up to 225. How long? Because that's amazing. I don't know how long it can continue. There's no way for me to assess that or give you an answer. If you guys would hit that like button, no, there's only 25 likes. Hit that like button for daddy. Come on now. Y'all know you want to press my button. Ring my bell, baby. Come on. Hit that button for me. Come on now. There we go. We got another one. Hit that like button for daddy. Coach needs you to ring my bell. Press that button. Thank you. I know you don't like the program or suggest, but would you say 2 times a week is enough then? Yeah. Other than a novice, I don't program 3 times a week squatting for anybody. Squatting 2 times a week is sufficient if you're only trying to squat like 700, I've only gotten a handful of guys past 600 squatting, 1.5 times a week personally as a coach. And I say 1.5 because, they're squatting one day and then sometimes they're rotating a max effort type thing on the other and not always squatting. So I would say the strongest like pound for pound type squatter I've had, you guys saw his 610 that I put up at 205. He was squatting twice a week, but that one of those 2 was only a single set. Like it was a single 1 to 3 rep variation. So he was technically squatting twice, but it was only 1 work set on one of those 2. Make sense? He ended up squatting 700 in a meet like a year after that in the 220. Thank you, Coach, dropping a like. Barbell versus preacher curls for overall bicep growth. I think the barbell is probably going to be slightly better than the preacher curl. Preacher curl probably a little better for brachialis. And if you really need to isolate more, in terms of overall growth, though, the bicep is going to get more overall stimulus potentially from the barbell. My opinion. But it's not going to be a huge difference. We're really talking about tit for tat at that point. Marco says, I find getting stronger on bench from gaining weight is easy, but now I realize it's just due to better leverages. Yes, from fat gain. Now I just want to get stronger on bench without gaining fat. Is a 315 a reasonable goal? I don't know. It might be. It could be. How do you feel about high intensity? 15. Okay, that doesn't compute. How's it high intensity if it's not above 90% of your max? Deadlifts that are 15 plus rep deadlifts at 6. No. I'm not going to advocate that. Best of luck to you. Thoughts on strap-on destiny stating 1-arm dumbbell preachers are better than the easy bar in his latest. He's entitled to think whatever he wants. I don't see how it's better. They're both good exercises. I think they're relatively similar. We could get into all sorts of crazy debates about different areas in which one might be better than the other. We could argue about stimulus to fatigue with the nervous system. We could argue about freedom of movement. We could argue about loading and tension. But to actually state that one of them is clearly better than the other sounds like a ludicrous statement. But hey, he's entitled to his opinion. Sean Nadawali said that squats will only develop around 75% of the quad. Objectively false, because it doesn't stimulate one of the 4 heads fully. Does this sound right? He's talking about the rectus femoris as opposed to the VMO and all of that. So yes, technically the rectus femoris, right, does not get complete stimulus from any squat pattern movement, including a leg press, a hack squat, anything else. But to say 75% development because one of the four heads, which is not the biggest head, by the way, one of the four heads doesn't receive full stimulus, does not mean zero stimulus. You kind of see the problem with this? So maybe we could say that the squat pattern movements might only develop around 95 or 98% of the total quad development because of the inability to fully develop the rectus femoris to its absolute potential might be a more accurate statement. If I was forced to put a percentage on it. Do you care that much about the rectus femoris though? Is it that big of a deal to you? Some people argue that it reduces quad aesthetics, by the way. Depends on the person and who you ask. But yeah, usually you want some type of leg extension, or in some cases, certain variations of the sissy squat will allow you to fully stimulate that head. How much more can someone usually bench wide grip versus their closed grip? It completely depends on the person. Do you think a 315 bench is achievable for the majority of young men? No, not necessarily young, because they're going to need to dedicate a lot of time. Do I think given enough work and consistent hard work and muscle growth that the average man can eventually reach a 315 bench? Average, so let's say that, maybe 60% of guys can do it. I'm going to say yes. What is the issue with high rep deadlifts with weight, which is difficult for you, and how is this any different from 20 reps on the squat? I very rarely mess with 20 rep squats, and notice how light I had to go. So when you saw me do 20 rep squats in the past, what sort of weight did I use relative to my max? Around 50% for 3 sets of 20, and they were absolutely exhausting. So like when I was hitting like a 600 cambered bar squat, you'd see me do back off work with 300 pounds for sets of 20. Yeah, absolutely exhausting. Absolutely exhausting. So you're talking about 20 rep sets on a deadlift. You really think you're going to do that with 70% of your max? Have you lost your mind? Nicholas, are you telling me that you really and truly think that you're going to take 70% of your true deadlift max and you're going to do 20 reps? So for me, what are we talking about? And that's just insane. The most extreme rep work I've ever done with a deadlift on camera was 500 for 11, but it was also with training plates, so they're thicker on a deadlift bar, so it whips a little more. It also ripped my hands. My hands were bleeding at the end. But I mean, even more realistically, I've done 425 for 12s. So what would that be approximately the max at the time? So that was around 70% of my max. And 12s were at the 12 rep set is absolutely not all I could handle. Form starts breaking down pretty bad at that point, around 12 to 13. But the issue, you're talking 20 rep sets on the deadlift. Why? You are accruing so much fatigue for a single work set. No, I don't think that you're going to get the real benefit in terms of a stimulus to fatigue out of it. I don't think so. All right. Marcinio says 315 in a low body fat versus high body fat is a crazy difference. I agree. Benjamin says, when I squat deep, but when I do this, my lower back rounds a little. Is a problem. Does it hurt? Does it hurt? If it doesn't hurt, it's not a problem. If it hurts, it's a problem. Work on some box squats to fix it. Good morning to you. Extremely taxing for my CNS. No, they aren't. Objectively, provably false statement. Unless it's 100 rep set, like are you doing 100 rep set straight, like 3 or 500 rep sets in a row on the good morning, then it's not taxing to your CNS at all. That's a debunked myth, by the way, that heavy lifting taxes to CNS. That's been completely debunked like a decade ago. That's not really a thing. I think you mean it's fatiguing. You get tired after. It's not your CNS. They're just hard. Is losing 2 pounds a week on a cut considered aggressive? I would say that's very aggressive. 315 bench easier for shorter arms, 500 easier for longer. What? I'm not sure how that computes. Do you even lift? Says hello, Jason. Hello to you. Coach, thoughts on starting benching with a heavy single, just like on squat? A good idea? Are these different in terms of upper versus lower motor units? No, you can definitely start with a heavy single first. I don't use any specific rep calculators. I just go to the generic ones. They're all pretty similar. I did your 5x5 in your intermediate programs, finished them. You advised me to start looking at more advanced training now. Now I'm 120 kilograms body weight, 26, 280 squat, 182.5 bench, and 300 conventional deadlift. Wow. Nice. Wow, that is solid, dude. Marco says, my lower back also rounds during deep squats. It doesn't hurt, but it feels like I worked my lower back, and sometimes it gets sore. Not a true pain, though. Yeah, as long as we're not getting true pain, I'm not that worried. Also, click that like button for Daddy. Come on now. Ring my bell. Let's see how that went. Sorry, one of my clients is sending me his footage. Important stuff there. I needed to look at. Like I said, I don't know how long I'm going to run this one, though, guys. This may be a very short one. Thought I would just throw a bonus one in and get a few things. How to rehab a low back injury after tweaking it during a set of deadlifts. Reverse hypers, high rep, band, good mornings. Maybe do some hanging. Anything that puts your back in traction, but a reverse hyper would be at the top of the list for me. And again, really high rep, good mornings with a mini band. Let's see. $315 bench possible for long arm natties while staying somehow lean. If they have really good genetics, because let's be honest here, 315, you're talking about long arm, natural, and lean. That's tough. Whatever happened to NH and his Mr. Strap-On, I don't know. I think didn't NH I guess he just stopped making content. I don't even feel like addressing any of the drama or nonsense anymore these days, guys. I wasn't enjoying it, to be frank. I'd rather just help people. I would rather my channel just go back to helping people, help you people get stronger, to get more jacked, right? And just get results. At the end of the day, that's what's best. What's best in life, guys? Gains, deadlifts, right? Making the world a better place one deadlift at a time. What's the best form of magnesium supplement? I don't know. I don't think either one of those. Citrate, probably. I don't know anything about hunchback syndrome loaded. You should try some 20 rep sets. How about I don't? How about you don't tell me how to train, but you enjoy the rest of your day also. I literally do 1 to 2 reps on deadlifts. So I'm messing around. I do maxes and I do speed work. For 2 to 3 years now, I kept taking 5 milligrams of melatonin overnight to sleep better. Tried to stop taking, could not sleep more than 5 to 6. I think you mean hours. Woke up pretty Woke up pretty tired for a few days straight. Placebo, maybe. Maybe. Pat says, I've never taken gear, interested in trying Anavar. When an Anavar only cycle, no, you need to test base. Hey, Pat, I generally don't recommend these oral only cycles unless they are a testosterone based, like Dianabol. You don't have any testosterone derived substances in your body. This is not going to end well. Hey, Morgan, I really don't care. There's no new recent, nothing has ever changed. There's not anything different. Actually, it's probably less in the last month now that I think about it. Right? Because I don't really see any attacks going on, to be honest. I would say there's less of it. This lifting thing isn't even that difficult. Why people make it so difficult? Lift hard. Well, it can be somewhat complicated. Rufio, depends on how extreme we're getting. I mean, I coach some pretty high level lifters. I think it's a little more complicated. I do agree people overcomplicate aspects of it way more than they need to. I'll definitely agree with that. Tips on what glasses to wear during a morning walk, something that protects your eyes. I don't know. Talk to your optometrist about it. Hi, I commented on YouTube video. Well, thank you, right? Is there any chance you can stop your natural melatonin production? That's debatable. I've seen experts who feel like that won't happen, right? So do we need to get rid of my last question was if I'm 143 pounds and up. Sure, you could just, you're skinny, dude. Just do a clean bulk, 1 pound a month, gain muscle. You'll probably recomp, honestly. I would think the USA could lift heavy way more than 5 plates in a New Year's routine, right? Well, no, those are red plates, though, too, dude. Keep in mind, man, those are reds. Those aren't blues, right? I've been spinning my wheels for years, getting fat and cutting hard. I've already given you the solutions, right, multiple times. Slow bulk, 1 pound a month, problem solved. Wacom haters coach their calories pretty much. All right. How can I know, right? Coach, just ignore the haters, brother. I'm watching back for some of your lives, and seriously, you just ban, click, and argue. Yeah, there's no point. Just get rid of them. What percentage of body fat is good enough to the point where you can keep making gains without gaining fat? I mean, probably anything above about 10%. Should powerlifting federations ban whippy deadlift bars? That's a subject of great debate. Is failing a 100-pound squat normal? No. I've been lifting for 16 years and recently reduced my volume. I got stronger and grew more, but science says volume is the most important factor for but science doesn't say that. It's one specific circle of biased researchers who are saying that. It's not exercise science collectively. It's a very vocal subgroup who are all under one person's kind of overall dictatorship in that field of science. Rawls says for everyone here, I did Jason's 5x5 program 1 year and around 2 years. His intermediate program was 21 years old. Yeah, Rawls got solid numbers there. So even at 12% body fat, it's possible to make lean gains without any fat gains, even as an advanced lifter. Yeah. Let's see. I just listen most of the time, so when I hear the clicking and do, I just know it's another troll, but it does, pretty much. So if I'm failing 105 squat for 5, what do? I gain a pound a month and get on a better program. Hey, Ryan, I've answered so many of your questions. It's just this point, you just need to do a consultation. Is 175 pounds to 6 foot a good size in general? I mean, if you're really, really, really lean, it's actually decent, but it's not big. No, not really. I mean, but if you're like 8% body fat or shredded, it's not bad actually. But again, 175 pounds is just not big. All right. Keeping in mind, I'm 220 pounds right now, just for example. Coach, have you ever experienced discomfort or mild pain in shoulder front delts after incline curls? Yes, sometimes slightly. Heard you will try some maxes. No, I thought about it, nipple. Doesn't mean I'm going to do it. Like your constant. Well, Morgan, I could try to do that. Well, sometimes because I stop reading when I'm reaching over to do that. All right. I'm 180 at 5'9", 12% body fat. How much more gains can I possibly make? I've been lifting for over 10 years. You can still trickle a little more gains, Marco. It's just going to be real slow at this point. It's going to be an ounce here, an ounce there, and it will accrue still over time. You can still make gains. They're just going to be real slow, especially if you're drug free. Going from 140 kilograms to 180 kilogram benches like night and day. They're not even in the same ballpark. Yeah, they're tiers apart. They are tiers apart. All right, guys. I said I was just going to do a quick stream. Pretty much what I did for 31 minutes. So I'm going to roll out of here. I love all you guys and gals. I hope it's been informative. And I'll talk to you next time.